Alright, everyone makes resolutions. Nobody really keeps them. So in this video, I'm going to be going over how to make the absolute best of your 2026 lifting escapades, if that's what you're deciding to do. Maybe set a New Year's resolution, be like, I want to lose so-and-so pounds of weight or whatever. But I'm going to be going over in this video why I don't think that's a good approach and how you can structure your goals in a way to actually attain them a lot better. So, I personally think the whole idea of actual New Year's goals are pretty stupid. You can do that at any point in the year. A lot of people take New Year's as kind of like this is the only time to do something, or they're like, oh, it's motivation or something. For some people, that can be true, but most of the time it is temporary motivation. So I'm going to go ahead and change my screen. So if you look here, this is something from a book called Atomic Habits. It's the plateau. You can't actually read that. Here, we'll move that. Anything weird on my sides? Ooh, spicy stuff over there, right? Not really. So the plateau of latent potential. So what this basically means is, whenever you start off, you expect everything to be very, very linear. You think everything's going to go in a very linear fashion, when in actuality, it does this. Now, this is with most things in life. Now, with lifting, in general, it's actually, you're pretty lucky. It's somewhat linear. In reality, it looks something like this. This, and then it kind of tapers off into a very, very slow climb until eventually you hit your natural potential, which this would be around like 3 or 4 years right here. But right here where you get the brunt, maybe 50% of your gains, that's really just going to be 6 months of actually lifting correctly. So today we're going to be talking about how you should actually set goals for lifting. So if you've not lifted before, oops, there's my graph back. If you've not lifted before, I don't think you should set goals that are like, I want to, say you're 130 pounds. Give me my pencil back. 130 pounds, right? And you're like, oh, I want to be 180 pounds, freaking 12% body fat. Okay. Now, for people that haven't lived before, I can understand the uninformed optimism, but in reality, in your first year of lifting, you can actually expect to make maybe, it's pretty insane, 30 pounds if you really train correctly. Now, this 30 pounds, it's not all going to be pure muscle tissue. Chances are you're going to gain 1 to 2% fat, assuming you're starting from sort of a skinny fat position, kind of like how I did. Now, if you are morbidly obese and you're starting from a super crazy, 300 pounds body weight, obviously 40% body fat, you can actually recomp more effectively than most people. So you probably will end up in the same sort of gaining 30 pounds of muscle while actually losing fat at the same time, right? So it's actually a pretty good, position to actually be in. Now, here, this is how I would structure things if I was a actual, new lifter going into everything. So first off, make things attainable. Don't, set out a very specific, goal. It's not very actionable. It's gonna be very hard to actually stick to this. Instead, I would do something that's more or less, once again, this is referring to Atomic Habits, I would make something that's more of a system. So instead of being hey, I want to go from 130 to 180 at freaking 12% body fat, I'm starting off at more 18%, which is pretty freaking crazy. But I mean, if you have great genetics, it can be possible, but chances are it's not. Maybe if you're a bit taller, like 5'9" or so, average height or so, then, some of this is just going to be recomping into what you should be at a healthy weight. Pretty possible. You're just going to need very elite genetics and a lot of discipline. So a more actionable version of this would be okay, let's set something realistic. I want to, for New Year's, sorry for my handwriting, it's pretty retarded, 2026, I want to lift 3 times a week. 3 times a week. Now, for newer lifters, they're oh, I want to make as much gains as possible. I want to be the best. So they're going to end up going probably for freaking 16 days in a row maybe. And then they're just going to quit altogether. Everyone thinks they're the exception. Let me just plead with you to say that you're not the exception. You're not David Goggins. You're not going to just do the same thing year in and year out if it's boring. So make your New Year's resolution something very actionable. Say, and instead of being like, here, let me bring this calisthenics. I'm not much of a calisthenics guy, but say you want to do like a muscle up. All right. Instead of being like, hey, I just want to do a muscle up, let's say I want to do pull ups every day and attempt a muscle up every week. Every week. Now, this isn't really English. My handwriting's horrible. I'm sorry, guys. But if you're starting to get what I'm kind of getting at, you need a system. A system of actions. Not a blatant, just like super uppity goal. Goals are nice. But in order to reach your goal, you need a good system. And it's often than not, more times than not, it's better to just eliminate. Bro, this freaking fan. Every video I do. Sorry, guys. My freaking Polonus heater kicked on again, just like I did the last video. Very annoying. Back to where I was at. You can, more often than not, you can't reach a goal without the system and the actions, obviously. But you can actually reach the goal without actually setting a goal. That way you can't actually be like disappointed. So, I mean, if your goal is to go like to the gym every day and you wanna bench 400 pounds, which for most people it would be 225 or like 315. If you're like a fatter guy, it might be 315. If you're just kind of like a skinny dude that's just getting into the gym, you might be like, I want to bench 225. That's the real number there. I hit that milestone. It wasn't that cool. This one was pretty cool though. Not gonna lie. I'm not a very hyped guy. I hit both of these numbers and I wasn't like jumping up and down for joy. The main lift that I like really was actually going nuts for was 300 because that was my grandpa's PR. That was the biggest. So I am the third of me. There are three people with the exact same name as me. Grandpa, dad, whatever. My dad's puss bench press. I don't actually know what his number was, but it was below 300. It was something like 285. That's a bitch weight. That's a bitch weight for sure. I'm joking. Sorry, Dad. You got here. This is my grandpa, dude. He's a bit of a bigger guy, so I really always wanted to hit this. Sorry. All right. I always wanted to hit this because it's like I'm a lot lighter than both of them, so it's pretty impressive. And I was very happy about that because I'm in powerlifting and stuff, so I know about the pound for pound. Okay, sorry. Away from the point. So instead of setting a physical number to hit something like action, like a system. So let's just say, make something with your friend. Be like, find a group of people that you can go with and make things fun. All right. So I want you guys to do something. We're just gonna call it fun maxing. Okay, this has been used before, but I'm gonna use it again. Fun maxing. Now, this might seem counterintuitive to the gym. You're not here to have fun per se, which you kind of are here to have fun. You're never gonna make it far in this without having fun because in the beginning, your body's going to go from complete and utter homeostasis to you just absolutely pounding it with a bunch of random heavy metal objects that you've decided to load up on top of yourself and start doing some weird unnatural movement, and your primate ass does not like that. So, in the beginning, it's very much the early game, the before the zone closes in, as the kids would say. You kind of want to do some fun maxing. Okay, let's get some buddies. Get some buddies. I know this. God, dude, why did I get a drawing tablet? This is such a mistake. This looks so sped, but I hope this is helping me get my point across a little bit better. You need some friends, man. Get some buddies to go with. All right, but don't get reliant on the buddies. Make the goal for yourself to be like, hey, dude, let's just go to the gym 3 times, because as a new lifter, your newbie gains, and as I've shown up here. You will just straight up get to like damn near half of your gains by just showing up and just doing the movements, because a newer lifter, it's a very anabolic place. You're not used to any of these actual lifts or anything, and it's very easy to see progress assuming you just show up. So I'd say for the first 6 months, just go 3 times a week. If you're like horribly sick, and if you can still drive, just go do like some biceps. Don't go to like crazy amounts of failure. Don't go crazy. Don't hurt yourself. But make it a point to just show up. And if this is gonna make it easier, which it will, maybe have some buddies. maybe, this is not maybe, track your lifts. If you track your lifts, then you actually can kind of have like a reasonable goal. Like, let's say one week you did 130 for 5 reps on the bench. Now, just next week, go for 130 for 6, which chances are, as a newer lifter, this might get, I hope this riles you up. You can really just do like 145 probably for like the same amount within like a few weeks. And that's crazy. You don't know that that's crazy yet, but once you become advanced, because you're watching the Todd Gibson channel, you will become advanced, all right? You know, it's actually kind of crazy to add 10 pounds to your lifts and have the exact same number of reps, because that puts your 1 rep max up. Like, I don't have a calculator, but I'll show it up on screen. I'll show the increase of like your 1 rep max, which is pretty cool. So have a system, friends, buddies, go a certain amount of times, actions, not goals. Not the goals, actions. Yes, smiley face. So just, we're gonna have some more action here. Just 3 times a week's a great goal. Now, maybe here, once again, have some more action for you. Choose a workout app. I personally use something called Boost Camp. It's pretty free. It is free. And there is something that is completely free called Fit Notes, both on the App Store on your phone. This one is completely free. It doesn't have any pre-programmed programs or anything that you can just like snatch or whatever. But it is completely free. You're not going to have any ads on there. This one, once again, no real ads, but they do have premium features and stuff and programs. So I do actually think that this one is better. But if you're trying to go with your own like kind of free ball approach and just show up and do whatever, which is more fun, Max, I would actually recommend starting with this one. Don't start with a strict program that's going to make you overwhelmingly bored or whatever. Just try and track a few of your workouts a week. Maybe as a guy, you're probably not going to hit legs whatsoever. You should, but you probably won't. So, I mean, maybe your first upper out of the 3 upper workouts that you're probably going to do a week, just track one of them, and the next week, whenever you come back, just try and do it again. That's much more maintainable and fun than trying to track all 3, because tracking is kind of boring, and I can admit that. Even though I track all of my workouts, it can get really tedious and kind of annoying, especially once you don't like. But if you keep doing it, it will get easier. You'll get faster at it, and you won't even think about it. But for the meantime, just show up. Just here. Here, I'm gonna write you out a little rudimentary program here for a 3-day split. We're just gonna go ahead and on day 1, we're just gonna do some bench. So as a power building channel, that's what this kind of is, called powerlifting aesthetics. I kind of have my own approach to it, but it is more or less just power building. I can admit that. But just go 3 sets of 8, so you can get a balance of 3 sets of 8 for the actual bench press on your first day, just to try and kind of get some like aesthetics and actual power being built there. You know what? First day in the gym, we're gonna start from the very beginning. No. You want bench for freaking 4 sets of 12, like RPE freaking 5. That means you have 5 left in the tank. That means you have 5 reps. So wherever you think you can't move it anymore, stop 5 before that. We want some good technique work. You want to drill in your technique before you get too crazy. So you're gonna get 4 sets of 12. It's pretty good. You'll probably get a pump and everything. Make sure that you I'm gonna be releasing a full bench guide pretty soon. Make sure that you watch that so you can bench safely and effectively. And if you want a full laid out course program to start from zero and from scratch, check out the description. I have a aesthetic powerlifting course. This is pretty rudimentary though. So we're gonna start with the bench. Okay, now we want some kind of like accessory work. All right, now we're not full powerlifters, so we're gonna go from bench into some sort of tricep movement. I'm just gonna go with some rope pull downs. Or no, not pull down. Tri extension. Pull downs is a different exercise. Sorry, fellas. This is not as hard to learn. The bench is kind of technical, but with the tri extensions, you can just start off pretty chill with like just 4 sets of 8. You can go kind of heavy on these. You have a very much lower chance of actually hurting yourself. After we hit the tries, I'm going to go with something like hammer curls. Now, the reason why I would go with hammer curls over just normal bicep curls is because you can actually, it hits a little bit of forearm as well, so your actual, like, brachialis, if you can see that. Such a weird angle. It's kind of hard. I'll show it up on screen. It hits forearms as well. We'll go with we'll go with 3 sets of 8. And then some Bayesian curls are really nice. These are also, I'll go with like 3 sets of 10. These are like a bit more isolative on the biceps. And then after we've done this, because the reason why I'm only going to put 1 tricep after is because they're going to be pretty hammered from the bench. After the biceps, they should be recovered again. Then we're probably going to hit some skull crushers. Now these are also pretty hard on technique, so I'm going to start off pretty light for you. 3 sets of 12, and this is full. All right, as a new lifter, this is pretty crazy. And honestly, if by this point you already feel like you're about to get injured by the end over here, we have the Bayesian curls. I know that this looks absolutely atrocious. Sorry guys, I'm retarded. You can even eliminate this, and later on in your lifting career, you can add these skull crushers back in, and that will work perfectly fine for you. Now, on the second one, I would actually recommend doing lower body. Crazy enough, a lot of people like deadlifting. Not all gyms have free weights to deadlift. So honestly, I think squat's a bit more universal. It doesn't have to be a normal conventional squat. In fact, I find hack squats, even though I'm a powerlifter, I love hack squats. They feel so much better. Belt squats, even better. They don't hurt. And for bodybuilding, it's a lot better. But just because it's a power building, we're going to go with squats. Just 3 sets of 12. These are going to fuck you up in a different way than the actual bench press. Just some 3 sets of 12. Sorry, this looks so sped. After that, we're going to do some leg extensions. You know what? Scratch that. You're new. You're fully new. This is how I would do it. This is how I would do it if I was a few months into lifting. We're going to start off with some leg curls. Because actually, warming up your hamstrings before you squat feels amazing. We're going to do, so even before that, stretch. So you don't absolutely blow your back out. You don't want to blow your back out, fellas. So stretch, leg curls, just 3 sets of 12. No, just 2. You don't want to get burnt out before anything. And then the actual squats, I would probably do something like 3 sets of 8, kind of in a pretty decent range. You're as a newer lifter, your intensity is going to be pretty dog shit, but we're fun maxing. So we can go all wishy-washy for a little while, but after we do everything here, let me go ahead and finish writing out this program. We're just going to do some squats, and then after leg extensions, 3 sets of 10 probably. That's a pretty good rep range for that, because that is more of a bodybuilding movement. And I'm not going to get into too much powerlifting specialization things here. We're kind of just trying to learn here. After this, if you've done relatively good intensity, you're probably going to be fried. But if you have more in you, instead of leg extensions, you can actually move over to some leg press. Now, don't ego lift on this. Full range of motion. Take it slow. You will hurt yourself. Don't hurt yourself. For this, we'll go a little bit lighter. This is pretty hard on your cardiovascular system, so I'm going to go a bit lower reps. Still keep the weight kind of light. I don't want you to kill yourself. And on this third day, if I had to just completely optimize here, so we've done an upper day, done a lower day. For powerlifting, if you have access to deadlifts, I would actually wait a day in between these. So this would be more like a Monday, Wednesday, Friday split. I would do deadlift, and I'd actually move bench over onto the second day. That way it's in the middle of the week and nice rest in between the 2 leg days. But assuming, we'll just assume that you do actually have access to a deadlift, and we'll say that this is going to be more like your second day. This is going to be like your first day. I'm sorry, this is getting so complicated. But basically, bench is going to be on Wednesdays. Squats is going to be on a Monday. Sorry, fellas, that sucks. Now, if you want a fun max, I'll do bench on a Monday. But actually, not that fun, because you got to freaking look for equipment. That's kind of a pain in the ass. So let's go ahead and move into this one, which is Wednesdays and deadlifts. God, this is getting so ugly to look at. Let's just erase some of this shit, okay? If you kind of get the idea. This is just too much to look at right now. Let's go ahead and just look at the day 3. It's just going to be some deadlifts. Bro. Maybe some deadlifts. Deadlifts are really technical. Same thing with the squat and also the bench press. I mean, all three of them are kind of technical movements, but bench press is a bit more natural than both of them. Deadlifts, keep it light. Go with more like we'll just go with 4 sets, just so you can get some extra movement in there. Just 4 sets of 10. That would be nice, just to drill in some nice movements. And honestly, just following this program for the first 6 months of lifting, you're not gonna hit a plateau whatsoever. Like, you could actually just use what I've written out so far, and you just write it down and just kind of take it to heart, and you will actually just make gains. It's not too complicated. Before you do this, stretch. Then I'd probably go into just some deadlifts, pretty light. Don't actually just go straight into your 4 sets. I should have clarified this. Before that, do a pyramid. So if this is your first time in the gym, just go lighter than what you think you can actually handle. Let's just say that your theoretical max is 135, which it'll be more than that. Well, let's just start off with like the bar, basically, with some bumper plates on it. 45 pounds. We'll go for 12 reps, slow and controlled. And then after that, we'll go to like 65 pounds for like 8 reps. And after that, we'll go to 95 pounds we'll go 6 reps. And then this is your 1 rep max. So we'd probably actually have a 115 for 1, and then this would be a 1. This is actually kind of more of a maxing out sort of pyramid, where you kind of just like work up from set to set, starting really higher repage so you can actually get some blood into the actual muscles, and then move on to these next movements. But you can also just do that in general. So if you're going to kind of like work up to a set of 10, for instance, and your max is 135, you're probably going to kind of want to go pretty freaking light, damn near 50% probably. So, I mean, quick math, I'd say you probably do like 75 pounds for 10, which obviously most people deadlift more than 135 when they start, but it's all right. It's 75 for 10. I'd start off with the bar, and since your max is so low, I'd actually start a lot lower with like a lot more reps than what you would typically have if your max was higher, if that makes sense, because you're trying to get some blood and muscle. I would do this for like 20 reps. You should be able to kind of get from there to there. But before you even do that 45 for 20, you still don't want to be too crazy. 45 for 10, then 20, and then because like the increment between these weights is so incredibly low because you're a weak piece of crap. I'm just kidding. You're perfectly fine. Then I'd go on like 65 for like 10, and then I would move on to some working sets of 75 for 10. Sorry, that was kind of a tangent. But deadlifts, I'd do some leg extensions, then I'd do some leg curls, and just to finish everything off, this is going to take some time to get used to, but Romanian deadlifts, they're actually really, really good for deadlifting and just overall like posterior chain development to the back of you. Anything on the back of you is your posterior chain. Anything on the front is anterior. Romanian deadlifts are pretty difficult and really hard on the cardiovascular system. I would just kind of do these for, technique based, just like the deadlifts. If this is your first week in the gym, for leg extensions, I would kind of go just standard 3 sets of 10 on both of these. Now, let's talk about some further progression. I would honestly, after you do everything, I would titrate the volume up a little bit if you're going to keep the same extent, like the same intensity. So if you're going to keep on doing wishy-washy fun maxing, which is the best way to actually get into the gym with your buddies, as I've said earlier, kind of lower intensity, but cooler value. So if you want to add some arms into this just for the sake of like being sick, and if you start to actually feel sick, speaking of, make sure you get at least 1 or 2 good sets in there, but like just move on to something like sit down for a bit, and if you feel good, go on to something that you know isn't going to hurt you. Do something like biceps. Something is better than nothing, so make sure you just do some biceps. Get an arm pump. If you're feeling like kind of under the weather, just get an arm pump. That's probably the best thing, especially delts. If you're just looking for overall just aesthetics, which if you're getting into lifting, you probably care somewhat about what other people think of you. I'd just probably do some arms and shoulders and chest. Those are the three that will actually make the biggest difference as far as like female appeal, if that's what you're going for. If that's what you're going for. So for the male appeal, I'm playing. We're gonna need to hit glutes. I'm just kidding. So as you get more advanced, I'd say after about a month of doing that previous thing that I wrote out, which I'm not gonna just give you. I could give you a PDF, but that's for the program, fellas. After about a month, I would actually titrate the intensity up. But if that's too difficult for you yet, after about 6 months, you need to stop being a pussy, and you're gonna actually start having to go to at least RPE 9, which to even know if you're at RPE 9, which means you have 1 rep left. Before you even know that you're actually going to the appropriate intensity, you're gonna have to go to RPE 10, which means failure. What is failure? You can't move it anymore. You need a spotter, especially on squat, bench, or deadlift. Now, for other exercise accessories, you should always go to failure, and you shouldn't ever really not go to failure. There's no point. You're never going to really accrue enough like fatigue for that to really matter on isolation movements, assuming you're actually doing the isolation correct. I recommend watching some form videos before you get into any of those exercises, just so that you can actually manage your fatigue in the proper way, which is actually just isolating the muscle and isolation exercises. After a month, up your intensity. If you don't up your intensity, up your volume. So maybe look up some new exercises to add. Kind of keep it new, keep it fresh. Do some new exercises, or just progress the old ones. Tracking is going to make things a lot more fun once you get used to it. But for just newbie lifters, you don't really have to focus on that. So I've been yapping. To summarize this video, keep it simple. Barely readable there. Sorry, guys. Keep it simple. Keep it fun. Have friends. And systems. Not goals. Systems get you to your goals. Just having goals does not get you to the systems that will get you to your goals. So it's better to just have the system. I want you guys, system, 3 days a week. Simple workout. Friends. Fun maxing. So I have hammered away the same points for long enough. I hope you understand what I'm trying to get to you, because this is the best way that you're going to actually get jacked in 2026. But until next time.